Hello, lovies. Ilia-Mae, aka Inspire Learning here. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience with Deviate and DeviantArt, the changes they've done since I've been a part of this site, the classic and the eclipse layout, my pros and cons for both of them. Before I get started, I want to let you guys and gals know that I totally understand where the hatred and fear that eclipse has caused, and to be quite perfectly honest, I think at this point it's starting to become an overreaction. Starting a petition to just stop Eclipse from becoming the primary layout, the silence protests, the journals, the forum posts, none of that is actually necessary. But again, I totally understand the reason. I'm not against you guys for doing what you want, what you feel is right, and what you want to do to make yourself comfortable. I'm just stating my opinion and how I feel about the whole entire situation. Like I've mentioned in my previous Eclipse videos regarding the Eclipse itself, is to breathe. Take deep breaths before you push the switch button or even create a new account. And now enough of that little rave, let's get started, shall we? I have been a part of DeviantArt for a good 15 years. My first account was Ilia-Midnight, and this is what the layout looked like back then. Now, as you can see, it was rather, a simple layout. It reminded me of forum sites when you joined just forum sites when they were a thing back then, or a journal site like LiveJournal or even DeadJournal. Even this layout itself had glitches. It was somewhat hard to use, get used to the navigation, but like all things, things change. Sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes it's extremely for the worst. Now, back then, back in 2005, they actually allowed third-party reports for copyright infringement and harassment. They had the option when the reporting to include which site or company the screenshot image belonged to. For example, as you can now tell on DA, there is a crap ton of posts of screenshots of movies, TV shows, etc., either with no credit given, edited to be absolutely disgusting, or just uploaded for the sheer hell of it. And so in 2005 to, I would say, about 2009 is when the third-party reports for infringement and harassment wasn't an option anymore. And that's when the reporting option for reporting hardcore porn on DA that actually linked to porn sites or uncensored porn was changed. In 2017, Wix acquired DeviantArt and completely changed the reporting system for the freaking worst. It's now more difficult to report COPPA violations, copyright infringements, abuse, like inappropriate commentary, inappropriate role playing threads, and just continued harassment. Whereas previously, when you were able to report it, you can go to the FAQs and just click on a link that says contact support. You would fill it out and then submit it where it needs to go. Now, this is what you have to do to report something. What you do is you hover over your icon, click on Get Help, and give feedback. It will take you to of course, the DeviantArt support page, run by Wix, just to let you guys know. For the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and go under Show All Policies. I'm going to go under Community Etiquette, and this is where you would report abuse or report spam. It will automatically tell you that to handle social conflicts between you and another user is to block the person and hide comments or mark them as spam. And that is an automatic response that DeviantArt gives you. However, regarding reporting, especially when you're reporting like block evasion, when somebody you blocked creates a new account and then continues to comment, that's block evading, and you can report that. And DeviantArt will, and still does, take action, as long as you provide proof. And when it comes to proof, links are always better. So let's go ahead and continue on with the demonstration. As you can tell, this little blurb is just how you report abusive situations, when to report it, what you do. After you scroll down, if you click no to the question, did this answer your question, it will automatically pop up saying, thank you for your feedback, we'll try to answer your question a little bit more thoroughly. With the link that you need to contact, that it says, would you like to contact customer service team, please click here, or if you would, rather, I can't read. Click there, and it will take you another pop-up screen, or it will take you to another window. And it says contact DVR, and then it says choose a topic to connect with customer care expert. Because it is a social interaction and it does have to do with abuse or whatever, you would click social interaction. And then you would of course choose which one is being reported. If you found an underage user, you would of course report COPA policy. If you want to report a spammer, you click on spamming policies. If an account was terminated or banned or suspended and they returned and their ban is not lifted or their suspension is not lifted and they're pretty much evading it, that's where you go. If you want to report unacceptable behavior like commentaries, a deviation or a journal, post block content and contact, that means if after you have blocked somebody, unacceptable group, unacceptable role play, or even an impersonation. This is what you would select. Now if you were to report, say, unacceptable commentary, if you say I'm receiving it, it would then say please use the block tool or hide the tool. Now if you actually say another DeviantArt is receiving the abusive commentary, they would actually say something like this: in the case of abuse, the report must be filed by the individual who has been abused. And like I said before, back in 2005 to about 2009, third-party reports were actually allowed. Now it's not, which is understandable, especially when it comes to harassment. So let's say you are receiving the abusive commentary. What you would do is you would scroll down here and you would say, did this resolve your issue? If not, contact us. Once you click on that, it will ask you to submit a ticket. You title your ticket whatever you want to title it. Then you say what's going on. You would say something like, you're being harassed, you're getting abusive commentary, you have blocked the person admitted to being this person, blah blah blah. The situation is this: even though it says attach a file, I don't recommend it. I recommend getting links. Links are always better. The reason why I say links are always best is that even if the user themselves tries to hide the comments either by hiding them or by marking them as spam, DeviantArt staff can actually still see those comments. Now, if you were to link a comment thread and a status that another user has posted, and that user deleted said status, that comment thread would actually still be there. So after you input all that information and click submit, it will say thank you for your report. If you want to check where your reports are, all you have to do is when you go back to click on knowledge base, it will take you directly back to the DeviantArt support. When you are logged in, you'll see this. Click on the little arrow and click my profile. It will take you to where your reports are. And then you can that's where you can check the status, if it's been replied to, if it's been closed, so on and so forth. But that's where you go, especially in the new Wix reporting system. And that is actually it for the reporting. Moving on. Since the Wix acquirization, DA has actually gone downhill from there. In the March of 2019, that's actually when Eclipse was mentioned. Looking at journals about it, opinions, the negativity, everything surrounding Eclipse just made me wonder, is DA's community even worth being around anywhere? Is it mentally and emotionally and creatively supportive to you? And part of me, in my opinion, because of this situation, is that no, it's not, and then the other part of me, who is a DA lifer, says absolutely yes, don't worry about them. Don't worry about the naysayers. like I've said before, I've been on DA for about 15 years. I've had 8 usernames since I've been here. I've done the hiatuses. I've done a month. Well, I've said I would do a month and then come back a couple days later. I've done the deactivation hiatuses where I deactivate my account, wait the 48 hours, and then reactivate the damn thing. I've even created new accounts to get away from drama, but I end up finding myself still injecting myself in the same drama, even with the new account. I've done what others have said they are going to do, saying that they're going to leave DA for good and then just continue using it, or leaving for a couple of days and coming back. And it's a circle that everyone on DA has gone through or is going through now. What we want to remember is that changes to a site or changes in life are inevitable. We cannot stop the creators of a site to change something that they want to change. All changes happen, whether we like it or not. Changes happened to Tumblr when they banned the not safe for work images. Facebook is now changing their layout system. The reporting system on DA, the Twitter changes. I think Twitter has undergone a couple changes. I'm not sure. I'm not on Twitter that much, but essentially changes do happen. Now the next thing I want to talk about, and I've noticed a lot of people are complaining and saying that DA is going to get slapped with copyright infringement suits or plagiarism because the Eclipse layout is the same as ArtStation. And if you actually look at all the details of both sites, you guys and gals will know for a fact that there are differences. Some of them are very subtle differences, but they are differences nonetheless. So I hate to break it to those of you who actually want DA to get in trouble, and they're not going to. And they're not infringing anything. And yes, the concept might be the same, but what exactly is a concept? It's an idea. It's an art style, right? And how many of you have told others that art style or idea theft doesn't exist? How many of you have told other users complaining about somebody else stealing their art style or stealing their idea, and you tell them that concept doesn't exist? And then you guys do a complete 180 when it's something that you guys don't like. But when it's something that you guys actually agree with or disagree with, there's hypocritical responses. Now, I might be getting some hate for this statement, but here's what I'm trying to say is, yes, the concept or idea is similar in nature, but they are completely different. So allow me to use this particular user as a to show you what I mean. And a quick shout out to this user. Their name is VoidSpacer. So this is VoidSpacer's ArtStation account. So as you can tell, the first thing that you see on ArtStation is the title cover image. You see a tagline, you see the location, and you see a site. You see the profile navigations. You see a portfolio, store, prints, about, likes, following, followers, challenges, follow and messages. Likes, following, and followers, of course, have numbers attached to them. And then, of course, there is the gallery folders, which you can select all or select wherever you want to go to. In DeviantArt, the first thing you see is, of course, the title image. You see the username, the tagline. You see how many watchers, how many page views, how many deviations. You also see the profile navigation, which is the about, home, gallery, favorites, posts, and shop. The place where you see the location is right here in the about. It's not really the first thing that you see. So going back to it, as you can tell with ArtStation, they have 2 links for stores and prints, whereas DeviantArt only has 1 link for shop. Now yes, they do have a option for portfolio, and DA does actually have a option for a portfolio in beta. I haven't actually went into it, so I don't know what that's about. I'm not really... I don't want to click on it. I don't want to risk hating something else or not liking something else. I don't want to form an opinion when I'm not ready for it yet. And I'm more likely in the next few days I'm going to click on it just to see what it is. But of course you can tell in DeviantArt the portfolio is actually in beta form, which means it's still in its infancy. Now in ArtStation you see the About, which is pretty much the first link on DeviantArt. You see the Likes, which to me for likes is something like Instagram or Facebook or even Tumblr has. Likes to me also means when you like somebody's image. So you go to that image and you favorite it. Essentially, you're liking the image. The following and followers are essentially pretty much the watchers and watching. So if you scroll down on VoidSpacer's account on DeviantArt, you can actually see watchers and watching. And that's scrolling down, whereas on ArtStation is at the very top with how many they are following. You would actually legit have to click on said links to see who is following, who they are following, excuse me, or who is following them. Whereas here, you can actually see everything that's going on with it. So, to me, in my personal opinion regarding the whole plagiarism or copyright infringement between ArtStation and DeviantArt, I don't see it. I mean, yes, the concept layout is probably the similar, but there are some pretty either subtle or some big differences. Again, a shout out to VoidSpacer. You are an amazingly talented artist. I love the colors you use. I love the characters you've created. You are fantastic. Please continue creating. You are definitely an inspiration of mine. Even though I'm not watching you, and that will actually be rectified pretty soon, but I definitely admire everything that you have created, and I admire I just admire you. You are awesome. Keep up the good work. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to what I want to talk about next. Let's see. Now, when it comes to Eclipse, I do actually agree that the Eclipse is unfinished, and it can be difficult to navigate. And when it comes to coding, they have completely changed the setup of not allowing our own coding to make customizations, and it just makes that particular feature, when it's unavailable, it makes us feel like we're not able to use our creativity and express ourselves the way we artists should be able to. Now again, when it comes to Eclipse, and I've said this probably now 5 to 10 times, is just to breathe. Take deep breaths in, breathe in through your nose, breathe out slowly, and just take a couple of them before you take on any kind of change. And when it comes to changes in your life, whether it be forced upon you or gradually following you, you're going to have to deal with it no matter what. Now, we as human beings, when it comes to changes, we absolutely don't like changes. It doesn't matter who you are, what it is that changes, we do not like it. But we have to deal with it. So, hypothetically, let's never mind about the Eclipse portion of the change. Let's talk about something in your life. Let's say there is an event that drastically changes your life, either for the worse or for the better. Do you have to accept it? Of course you do. Well, actually, no, you don't have to accept it. Do you have to roll with the punches? Yes, you do. Now, for me, and I think I've mentioned this previously, I'm actually getting surgery in the near future, hopefully extremely near future. I have a consultation on this Friday on May 1st, and I'm hoping I can schedule the surgery on May 8th, which is the next Friday. That is going to be a drastic change for me. Even though I knew about the issue 5 to 7 years ago, and I should have took care of it then, but it's gotten to the point where this change is being set drastically upon me, and do I want to deal with it? Hell yes. I want the pain gone. Do I have to deal with it? Absolutely. And I'm just rolling with the punches, trying to get everything situated. So when it comes to changes, even online or offline, it's just better to take deep breaths, focus on what you have the ability to control versus what you don't have the ability to control. So again, eclipse is something that we essentially cannot control. Yes, we are able to submit feedback, and I do highly recommend any feedback that you are, any glitches you run into, any issues, or any feedback you want to mention, do it. Do it immediately. Because the sooner you do feedback, the sooner you report the glitches, the easier and quicker DeviantArt could actually fix them. So that is definitely something you guys might want to do, okay? Bear with me for a moment. I'm having some pain, so I have to take some medicine, so if there'll be a little bit of silence, I apologize. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about for the classic green layout, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons. What I like about this layout and what I don't like. So what I like that the navigation is a little bit easier. It's still essentially the self-explanatory for the navigation, but it is easier to get used to. I do like the fact that the notifications, like the deviations, favorites, activity, everything is on the right side, and you can just click a button and it will load everything. I do like the fact that in Stash we have the opportunity to have a Stash writer. I do like that it is easier to browse DeviantArt Bear with me for one more moment, I apologize. Alright, so we're able to browse the DeviantArt categories and galleries that DeviantArt has to offer. So, for example, what I like to do when it comes to browsing DeviantArt to either favorite images or to get inspired, I like to go to digital, then I go to 3D or three-dimensional, I go to characters, and then I look at all the artwork. And then after I do that, I go to photo manipulations, I look at abstract, I look at dark concept, I look at fantasy. Sorry, I forgot everything that I look at. So I look at abstract, conceptual, dark, emotional, fantasy, and sometimes I even look at sci-fi. Another gallery that I like to look at is I just kind of go down the line. I do like to look at resources, like stocks, like see stocks that are available, for example, textures, three-dimensional renders, and other things. I also like going under DeviantArt related and seeing like stamps. I like to see the DeviantArt IDs, and sometimes even the deviation fund. And this is sometimes the deviation fund or anything that has to do with DeviantArt will actually be under there, like the biting pair of Salmaca or whatever how you say it. I'm actually surprised Hooves isn't in there, but you would think it would be. But that's what I like to do and what I like to search. So that is something that I do actually really enjoy. Another thing that I enjoy regarding this particular layout is that we can choose, when we're submitting an image, we are able to choose what category our images go in after we upload something. Another thing that I like about this particular form is that before you can submit it, it is a requirement, and I will show you an example, and I think I've done this in another video. It is a requirement to select if it's a mature content or not. You do have the option to select a size. If you select the original size, it doesn't have the option for the add watermark, but if you do select the size, it does have the option. You can check it. Again, you have the opportunity to select which category, and that's one of the things that I absolutely enjoy of this original or classic layout. My cons regarding this layout: the favorites and the gallery folders are to the left, and anytime you click on a folder, you lose the previous folder. Now, even though from digital art I can go back to gallery, but if I were to click on any other subfolders, it will take away that gallery portion of it. However, if I wanted to go back to the digital, I just click on here. That's one of the things that I don't like about the setup, and it's the same for favorites. If you select a favorite and select a folder, any folder you click on, it will go to that folder, and you lose that previous navigation, except for at the very top. But again, that's something I just don't like. Another thing that I don't like is the fact that you have this comment box, and this comment box is only able to be edited. You cannot remove this thing. You cannot remove profile comments, and that is something that is definitely frustrating to me. Another con that I don't like about this particular layout is the fact that anybody who had, for example, when you click on edit page on the old layout, and I have seen users have every single one of these little widgets. And when somebody has this many widgets, it causes this scroll bar to get extremely long. And I'm going to show you an account that I'm not calling them out in a negative way. It is actually kind of a shout out. I do believe that she is a talented artist. I do also believe that she has some really good potential to become better, and even though her and I have had issues in the past, I do believe, again, she is and can be a decent artist and human being. So without further ado, I would like to shout out Swaggy Vortex. Yes, I've had her loaded before. So once you go to, just using her as an example, as you can tell, she has a lot of widgets available, and a lot of widgets on her particular account. So that means this scroll bar is a very short, but very long process. And for me, I don't like scrolling. I hate scrolling with an utter passion. It takes so long to get to know a user when they have this much information. And that's something in DeviantArt on the classic layout that I just cannot stand. And it's truly frustrating. But again, a shout out to her for creating the art she does and being just passionate in what she likes to do. Now, let's go to my pros and cons for Eclipse, shall we? Let's go ahead and toggle back over to Eclipse. Now, the navigation, in my personal opinion, is still pretty much the same as the classic layout. I mean, it's easier in some ways. It's pretty self-explanatory, and also I do like the concept of separating the contacts you have, like notes, favorites, mentions, whatever, under one area, and separating the watch. to basically so you can see what your watchers have posted. I do actually like that concept. It is rather a simple layout, and I do actually like it, the fact that it does focus more on the art. And as you can tell, I did actually change my layout just recently after the last two videos. As you can tell, I have my featured or my new images posted in the carousel at the very top. I have my spotlight for my favorite and best images of 2019, and then of course I have a random 2019 folder. And that's on the left. On the right, I have my About Me blurb, and then I have an art spotlight to feature other artists. And I have quite a few of my favorite artists on here. I have my Stars Cold Night. I have my Mystic Art Design. I have William. I like Will. He's an awesome artist. A really talented artist. I can't pronounce her username, but she's V, or she's Roman numeral 7. I don't know exactly what that is. And of course, Val Heismer, or as I like to call her, Veruca. She is adorable. She loves cats. She includes cats in everything. I love it. And then my absolute favorite and muse, Lucas Colored. I do absolutely love them. And then, of course, I have, again, Mystic Art Design. I also have my donation pool, and that's pretty much all I have on my page, and that's what I edited for. Another thing I like about the Eclipse layout is that the fact that you have the option to actually delete the profile comments. You do not have to have them, and that is something that I absolutely love. I rather my artwork, my statuses, my literature, I rather have my submissions get comments than my actual profile, and that is perfect to me. Another thing that I love is the navigation for the gallery as well as the favorites. As I've previously mentioned in my Eclipse videos, is that you can have the option to either scroll to the right, or you have the option to have the actual folders. Now, if you choose the actual folders, it will take you to the folder. However, and that's like the old layout, and I don't like that, to be perfectly honest. But at least the navigation was a little bit easier then. My opinion, for me, and what's easier, and what I absolutely love, is the fact that you can scroll. So any images you see at the very top, you can click on a folder, and it will take, and the images will load at the bottom, and you don't lose this particular navigation, especially when a folder has subfolders, which is neat. I love that. And again, the images load. In the favorites, it's the same concept. Anything that you have favorited will automatically load on the bottom or underneath the scroll bar, and I love that. Again, you have the opportunity to have the folders, but personally, in my opinion, I don't like just having folders revealed and clicking and then going back. That's not something that's cohesive, in my opinion. The ability to edit the box of new deviations. So let's say you want to just add new deviations or post your new deviations. As I've previously shown, when you click on latest deviations, you have the option to edit this title. So you can put new art, you can put themey, whatever you want to change the title to, you are able to do that and then click save. That's another thing that I absolutely love. The ability to save comments or activities, mentions, or even deviations for later, or just because. So if you find an image that you absolutely love, like for example, let's go ahead and go under my watch, and I absolutely love the people I watch. So I'm going to use my lovely friend, Lucas Colored. As 3 dots, click down, click save. I like save. And I can keep her in save if I wanted to, or I can remove it, but I like that option. That option is very neat. The ability to delete comments. So any comments that you wish to delete, you do have the option to go ahead and delete them. I haven't deleted any comments, and I don't really want to. The cons for Eclipse. I don't like the fact that the stash writer and stash folder is no longer an option. I do think that is just a little bit in the frustration side. However, I did actually recently find out something new, and I will show you guys later on in this video before I end it. Another thing that I have also noticed regarding another con that I don't like is that anytime that you click on, excuse me for a moment. Alright, so anything that you so when you have the watches and you see the little green dot, or if you go into notifications and you see number, the numbers or the green dots, once you click on that little button, it actually removes it. Like you've seen them and you're done with them. And I don't like that option. I do believe that should stay up until everything is removed, in my personal opinion. But that's another thing that's one of the other things that I don't like. The last thing that I actually don't like about the Eclipse layout is the fact that the watch list automatically defaults to deviations, wherein it should just default to all. That's something that I do not like. Alright, so as you can hear or tell by my pros and cons for both the Eclipse and for the classic layout, my pros and cons actually for Eclipse outweighs my pros and cons for the classic layout. And I will be the first one to admit that I do actually genuinely like Eclipse. Even though I toggle back and forth at least 30 times a day, I still enjoy the Eclipse function in the Eclipse layout. After I gave it a hardcore chance, exploring it, clicking on buttons to see where they take me, learning it, it has actually relieved a lot of anxiety that I had for it, and it has shown me that it is, even though the concept layout is pretty simple, it has shown me that it is more art spotlight driven, and I like that about Eclipse. So that is pretty much my pros and cons. Now, before I end this video, allow me to show you something that I recently just found out while exploring Eclipse mode. Under your watch tab, when you click all, and I'm already there, of course, you'll notice that there is a user under here. And under the group deviations, I was wondering why this person or a user wouldn't be under the user deviations. And then I realized I don't actually watch this person. But I have, when I toggled over to the old layout, and I look at the group deviations, and when I see that particular image, I noticed that it's part of a group that I'm a part of, that I am a member of. And what I've noticed is that whenever you see a user name, and this is a glitch, guys, that should actually be reported. I don't know if it has yet, but it should definitely be reported. When a person includes a group, so if you click on the image and you look at the groups, especially in the old layout, you'll notice that this person has entered this particular image in 62 groups. 62! So wherever that particular group, and because it's under my, or not my, but under the positivity one, and it depends on where it is on the list. If it was one of the first groups, I believe 5 groups it was entered, it would show under a group. But if it's one of the last ones, which it actually is, it's near the end, it shows up as a user's names. And I'm not sure exactly why, but again, it is a glitch that I recently found out. Another thing that I've also noticed is that when you go to classic mode, or if you're in classic mode and you have images stored, okay, so are able to manage deviations, right? And you are able to go under storage. When you go under storage, and yes, I do have a couple of images in there that I've stored. When you go under store and you want to unstore them, you're not actually able to do that in the Eclipse mode. You would actually have to toggle over. But if you guys are a new person to the or if it's a new account to DeviantArt and you don't have that toggle between old classic and Eclipse, I'm going to actually include the link so that way you guys can favorite it, so that way you guys will always have it. So definitely in the description, check out the link that I'm going to link you. It is definitely important to have, and it's definitely something that would be very beneficial, especially if you have images that you have stored that you want to unstore at a later date. And if you can't see it, or if you can't get to this particular screen in Eclipse, there's no way to do it, and I have tried looking for it. And it's only there, so here, I'll show you guys again. So under Watch, actually it wouldn't be under Watch, it would be under, excuse me for a moment. So under Gallery, I actually do not see anywhere where there's an option to go under your storage. There is nowhere. If I click on this, it'll just say View as Visitor. If I click this, it just says Share. There's nowhere in here to show where the store folders are. If I click Edit on Featured, it doesn't really give me anything. And if I go under Folders, it doesn't give it to me either. So I'm going to highly recommend, again, I will have the link to the Manage Deviations storage link in the description. Please save it, because it's definitely going to be a beneficial thing to have. Otherwise you're going to lose your stored images. So definitely something that you definitely want to keep for you. Okay. Another thing that I have noticed, even though we no longer have the stash writer, which is of course unfortunate, if you click on Submit and go to Literature, and I'm just going to do a quick little demonstration. Title Text. Once you set up your literature, as you can tell, it says current status draft. Once you click submit, it will take you to the submission form. Now, the submission form, of course, is where you actually submit your deviations. You put in your description, put in the tags, do a mature content if it's there, and then click the destination, all that good stuff. But what I've noticed is if you highlight and if you hover over your icon and you click stash from this particular screen, it will save, as you would have noticed, and the recent literature post that you were working on will be there in your stash. And once you click on it, from there you can edit it and then go ahead and continue on with what you're doing. It will load in, of course, Eclipse, but so the stash writer is there. It's just more steps than it needs to be. So that is an absolute plus. Oh no, it's not there. No kidding. Go away. Anyways, so that is actually all for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you dislike it, give it a thumbs down. If you do happen to enjoy my work and would like to see anything else that I post, definitely click on subscribe, click on the notifications, and turn on the bell. If you have any questions or suggestions on what you want to see on my channel, you can definitely leave a comment in the discussion tab of my YouTube channel, send me a note on my Inspire Lyrium, or on DeviantArt you can actually go to my journals. Journals! I have so many journals. Just to show you, anyways, for giggles. You can go to my journals and click on suggestions and leave a comment. Or you are more than welcome to actually email me at inspirelyrium@gmail.com. This is the spelling, so if you definitely want to go ahead and email me, you can. Just make sure you put a subject in as question DeviantArt/YouTube. Let me know who you are, and of course with the body of your text. Anyways, that is actually finally it for me. I am tired, but I would like to work on some artwork now. I thank you very much for watching. I heart you all. I appreciate your support. I appreciate everybody who inspires me, who I inspire. I appreciate everyone. And again, I do totally understand where you guys are coming from. I just want to also ask you guys again to be safe and remember to breathe. And that's all. Goodbye all.